Hi everyone, I'm Emma and welcome to Yoga for Sleep. This is a gentle practice to let go and remedy any stress, tension, or anxiety that we might have accumulated throughout our day. So this is my go-to sequence that I do right here in bed when I can't fall asleep or if I keep waking up in the middle of the night. And it focuses a lot on really gentle, deep breathing, but also some soft restorative poses to decompress. So we'll start off in child's pose. You'll need 1 or 2 pillows for this practice. Obviously they're really accessible because we're right in bed. And go ahead and take the knees quite wide here. And you can stack 1 pillow if it's quite fluffy. If they're a little thin, you can stack 2 on top of each other. And we're just going to rest the belly and then turn the head to one side here. And then you can have a little wriggle around into the hips, into the shoulders, and then start to arrive at a place of stillness. And just notice here where the mind is at, where the breath is at. And often when we can't sleep, especially if this is something that happens quite often to us, we can actually create what we call a sleep anxiety. So worrying about not being able to have a good night's sleep. And for some of us, this can cause the breath to become quite sharp and shallow, maybe the muscles to tense, and maybe you're feeling that here. And we're just going to use a breath in this pose as we breathe deep into the belly, feel the sides broaden, the back expand, and focus on a long, slow exhale out. And just continue with that, moving at your own pace. And then once you have created a little more space in the belly, we're going to apply a breath count. Inhaling for the count of 3 and exhaling for 3. And try to stay with this breath throughout all these postures for this practice. After that next exhale, go ahead and turn the head to the opposite side here. Ask yourself if you can relax those shoulders a little more, grow a little heavier into the hips. And just be mindful of where the hands are. They might be stacked under the head, they might be reached out in front. And is this a comfortable position for you? Is it a position that might be holding or encouraging tightness or tension? Is there anywhere that you can place them that might be a little softer? And again, find those 3 deep breaths. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. Good. Inhale, walk the hands back here, lift the chest, and we're just going to stay here with the chest elevated and take a few rolls of the neck here. So any direction that you'd like to begin with, and you can make these as small or as big as you like, but pay attention to what the shoulders are doing. Are they squeezing and hunching up around the ears? And again, can you just soften them a little more down the back? And coming the opposite way. And pay particular attention to where you might be holding stress or tension as you start to release into these parts of the body. What is particularly tight as you move through this sequence. Good. Inhale back to center. Take a little wriggle into the shoulders, into the hips. Then we'll come onto our belly for our half frog pose. And again, you might like to make a cushion with the hands. You might like to use another pillow here. And we're going to take a deep bend into the left knee. Place it up over a pillow here. So almost like our full frog pose, but just doing one side at a time for a more restorative, softer, supported version. You can turn your head to the same side of the extended knee. And again, find those deep breaths. Inhale for 3, exhale for 3. Focus on sending them right down into the lower belly. Allowing the navel to rise here. And it's these really deep belly breaths, this diaphragmic breathing, that is key to calming the mind, switching us into this parasympathetic state, this relaxed response. So especially if you're still finding that the breath is quite jittery or a little flaky here, trust the breath to take you where you need to go. Stay with it. Even if it's a little shaky, a little quivery. Can you find those long, deep inhalations and exhalations, returning to time and time again? Good. And then lift the head, come into the opposite side. You might need to swap your pillow around. Okay, you can turn your head to that side of the knee. And this pose is actually a great pose just to fall asleep in, opening into the hips. If you're a belly sleeper, you might already sleep like this. And hopefully what you're starting to notice is a little more steadiness in the breath here. If you're finding an invitation to deepen the breath, go ahead and take that. So you might even increase the breath to inhale for 4, exhale for 4. Good. And then let's start to come onto our back. So rolling all the way onto the back here. And draw the knees into the chest here. So just hugging them in, taking a little rock side to side. You can keep a pillow under the head if that feels good. And then let's release that left leg. Hug the right knee in here, and again, just take a little rock side to side, but more so wiggling the knee side to side. So allowing the head of the femur bone to become a little lubricated, create a little bit of mobility in that hip socket. You might draw circles here, and the opposite way. And then take a full breath in here. Really squeeze that knee into the armpits. And then exhale, take it all the way across the body. If you prefer a pillow for support underneath that knee, you can go ahead and set that up. If you prefer no pillow, you can pop it off to the side. And then if it feels okay, extend through that right arm. Gaze can stay neutral towards the sky, or maybe it treks over towards that right arm. If you can, release the shoulders a little here, so just take a little wiggle, lift the shoulder blades up and evenly ground them back down. And if you do have a pillow under your head here, just be mindful of the height of the pillow. So this one is quite cushiony, it's quite high, and you can see I'm already starting to take the chin to the chest, and it's not always the best positioning for the neck, so maybe you pop it off to the side or even replace it with something a little softer. In this particular pose, you should start to notice an opening to the shoulder, this broadening across the chest, opening into the outer hip, lengthening of the spine. And in this particular pose, really focus on those deep belly breaths again. Hopefully you start to feel this gentle internal massage of the organs here. For a little bit of a longer hold in this one, knowing that twists are a very effective way to switch us just that little bit deeper into our relaxation response. Be mindful of where the mind is at right here too. Perhaps it's focusing on the day's events, or maybe it's trolling through tomorrow's to-do list. Can you bring it back to the breath, back to the breath, back to the breath? Back to center, draw both of those knees into the chest again, take that little wriggle, that little rock side to side. Notice a difference in sides, in the hips, and the shoulders, and the back body. And then release that right leg, hug the left knee in, and just again take that little wriggle and rock side to side here. Draw circles, and again changing direction. And inhale, draw that knee in really tight, almost like you're trying to touch the armpit. And then exhale, take it across the body. You might extend through the left arm if that feels okay. And soften the shoulder blades down the back. Find a comfortable positioning of the head. Again, focus on those breaths. These breaths are really the foundation of these poses, the key to relaxation here. It's great if you can move the body, it's great if you can come into these poses, but can you do it coupulated with the breath? And then inhaling back to center, draw the knees to the chest again. Take that little wriggle, little rock side to side. We'll set up for this final pose next. We have Burrito Karani, legs up the wall pose. And this is my absolute go-to pose if I can't sleep. I often stay in this pose for quite a while. So you will need a wall for this pose. So if you are like me and you have a mountain of pillows, you'll need to pop them off to the side. And then you want a little bit of height under the sit bones if that feels okay for the pelvis and for the spine. And that's just going to help with that supported inversion. So trying to get the heart a little higher here. So I'm going to use those fluffy pillows again. I might stack a few, that might be a little too much. Let's go ahead with this one and see how we go. And you want to bring one of your hips up to the wall, as not as close as you can, around like a handspan distance from the wall. And then simultaneously, as you start to lower yourself back, you can take your legs up the wall. And again, just be mindful of how the pillow is feeling under the back. If you're feeling any pressure, any compression, any pain or any niggling feelings like that, that's not what you want. So you can go ahead and pop the pillow off to the side. And here you might need to readjust. So you might need to wiggle forwards, you might need to wiggle back. It's just about finding that right positioning for you. You want to be feeling really comfortable in this pose. So you might bring your toes to touch, your legs might be more comfortable wider apart, or it might look more like a Baddha Konasana pose for you, really whatever's feeling good. Usually hip distance is quite good for me, so I'm going to go and settle there. And then you can rest the hands maybe to the belly. You might also take a pillow onto the head. Again, just be mindful of how the neck is doing. You might take the arms out wide or overhead. Choice is yours here. And this particular pose, we're not so much focused on a stretch into the hamstrings per se. It's more so this benefits of a supported inversion. So this reversing of the blood flow. Basically, we're just reversing the effects of gravity on the body. Great way to reduce swelling in the legs. Great pose if you were standing or even just seated all day. Awesome pose for long flights, before and after long flights. But also to calm the mind for insomnia. I absolutely encourage you, if you do have an eye pillow or an eye mask, to go ahead and pop this on for this pose. If you have any essential oils in the bedroom, this is a great pose to use them for, just popping some onto the temples or behind the neck. Setting yourself up for optimum relaxation here. Asking yourself, is there any way you can drop a little deeper into self-care? Is there any way you can nourish yourself a little more? And then start to really drop into this pose. Relax the shoulders, feel the hips grow heavy. Feel the back body melt into the bed. Relax the feet, allow the toes to turn outwards. And completely let go on the legs, allow them to be like jelly. Feel the heart melt towards the back of the chest. The skull melt into the mattress. And find a few deep, steady breaths here. And hopefully you're already feeling these relaxing, calming, grounding, almost sedative effects of these postures. And stay here as long as you like in this pose. And then gently at your own pace, whenever you're ready. Bring a little movement back into the fingers, into the toes, turn the head side to side, awakening the body. You might roll the ankles and take a big stretch overhead. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, rocking out to any side, taking the legs down the wall. Finding your way to a comfortable seat to close the practice. Namaste. Hey you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more yoga videos, please subscribe and let us know in the comment section below what you want to see more of. Namaste.